All right, good morning, guys. Happy Saturday. Got some sleep in finally, so that was nice. Finishing up my morning walk right now. Got a whole bunch of stuff to do today. We're gonna go through the meal prep for the week. I know it's gonna be extremely similar to last week, but a lot of you guys are asking exactly how I do it, plan it out. So I'll take you with me throughout the day and I'll show everything that I'm eating, why I'm eating it, etc., with substitutes if you don't like some of those options. So I'm gonna go to Sam's Club. I get my meat from a butcher shop, so they don't open up till 10, so I gotta wait till I put my order in. I'll see you guys here in a little bit. Gonna finish up this walk, get dressed, head over to Sam's Club, and I will see you over there. All right, just pulling into Sam's Club. So what I'm gonna have this week is practically the same thing as last week. I like to keep my my protein the same. In the past, I've done this multiple ways where I've done 3 different meals throughout the day. I'll show you exactly how I do that later on, but for now, just keeping everything simple. I'm gonna go pick up my ground beef after this, but from here, I've got to get, I already have broccoli, I already have spinach. I wanna say I need onions, tomatoes, garlic, blueberries, strawberries for some carbs. I still have half a watermelon from last week. So go ahead and grab all these things. See if they got anything fun in there too. That's also why I like Sam's Club. You can, as long as you don't get too distracted, you can find some fun stuff. See you after this. All right, just finished up the Sam's Club run. Not a whole lot to this cart, honestly. So I have the fruits for the week, which were gonna be strawberries and blueberries and watermelon, which I already had half a watermelon still, but they were out of blueberries. So I opted for another watermelon. If we were looking for nutrient switching, trying to do something as close to blueberries, blackberries would have been a better option, but they looked a little, I don't know, they didn't look that good at the store, so I just got another watermelon. We're gonna have this banana here with some honey that I already have. We're gonna use these as pre-workout, because last week I was lazy and had Rice Krispie treats for pre-workout carbs, but that'll be a better alternative. We got eggs. These tomatoes are going to be for the pico de gallo that I like to mix with my food. The onions are going to mix with the beef and for the pico de gallo. Then we're going to have the lettuce right here, which is going to be, I like to add more volume to my food, so I like to cut that up and put it with it. Then the sweet potatoes are going to be for post-workout. So pretty simple. At least I try to keep it simple. We're out, I think it was 5102 for all of this here. Granted, like I said, this will last till next week. That'll probably last a few weeks. So yeah, off to the butcher after this. And I still need to go to a local grocery store because I need cilantro, culantro, and a couple other things that Sam's Club doesn't carry. So I might actually do that next because my order is not supposed to be ready till noon, and that's still half an hour away. So I will see you at the next stop. All right, just finished up at Publix to get the last couple things. I like to put beets with my with all my meat. Everything else is pretty much yogurt. I got a lot of yogurt because Sam's Club and Costco don't really sell good things. Yogurt, some green onion. I did find the cilantro, but that is about it. The other stuff that I did get is because I am starving. So I got one of these little sandwiches, a little high in calorie, more bread than I would like, but typically I'll get one of these little shots, like ginger or something, since I haven't eaten since, 5 o'clock yesterday, and it's 12 o'clock right now. So I'm getting a little hungry and I'm not gonna be able to eat for a few more hours. So gonna get this, added some hard-boiled eggs. Some people don't like them in these things, but I don't mind them. They're not too bad. So I'll drink this first to kind of get the digestion going. I'm gonna open this up, and I actually get typically chicken or turkey. I'll get a pack of this because these things never have enough meat. It's always bread. So I'll throw this in there, eat some of that, drink that first, and call it good. I already have some water over there, but I'm gonna eat this real quick because I am starving. Also, another thing, sometimes people complain about, oh, I can't take that many steps in the day. How am I supposed to do that? I got things to do, blah, blah, blah. But realistically, man, she don't care where she's going. She's okay. Really, it comes down to a whole bunch of small things. I always tell people, like for instance at Sam's Club, I'm parked in the very back of Sam's Club. Do things like bring your cart back. Right? These things are all going to add a little bit more activity, and you don't realize how lazy you actually are throughout the day. So like I said, it's small things that add up throughout the day. Park in the back, Don't leave your cart out. Don't be that person. Yeah, that's one of the main things that I do all the time though, is anywhere I go, I park in the back. So helps get the steps in, might get like an extra 1,000, 2,000, depending on how many places you got to go that day. So, all right, just rolling into the butcher shop out here in Orlando. Placed my order earlier. Should be ready about now. Gonna go get my ground beef. These guys specialize in a whole bunch of Wagyu steaks, and I've always wanted to try one of these, in particular this one. I've never understood how something so fatty could still be good. So I want to try that. After this cut, I'm definitely going to come back and try a slice of this. All right, we got the food. Pretty simple. It's just ground beef. There's nothing crazy about it. But for me, I get the, it's 10 pounds. 9 pounds is lean ground beef. It's the specific cut is top round. That's a very lean cut of ground beef. And then the other pound is going to be liver that's ground up. All right, we are just finishing up and we're getting back to the house. We got all the ingredients. I'm gonna flip the camera. It's gonna be extremely messy. Some of these groceries are mine, some of them aren't, but I'm gonna kind of explain to you real quick what step we were on. So, like I said, a little bit messy. So to start off with this, the only two things that we really need is to make things go faster. I'm gonna have a pot to boil the sweet potatoes. So I'm gonna do those first because these take the longest. Other than that, all I use is an Instant Pot. Now, I'm not gonna get too complicated on this video, but like I said, I only have the ground beef is what I'm using right now. Now, in the past, what very old videos that I've made before, I actually had 3 of these. I'd have 3 Instant Pots because I'd have 3 different meats. I'd have like, you know, ground beef, maybe steak, maybe chicken, so I could kind of make some variety, different flavored foods, and I would actually portion out and have all the containers. I just don't feel like doing that right now, so I'm keeping it real simple for myself. So like I said, I'm gonna start off by peeling these sweet potatoes. These are gonna be the carbs for right after the workout. Some of this is going to be for multiple things, but I'll break down exactly how I'm going to do it all. So first, skin these. I'm going to cut them up so they boil a little bit faster in there, because last week I put them in whole and some of them were still hard on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will see you in a second. So we've got these all peeled up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna get them cut up. I'm gonna throw them in the water, and we're gonna get on to the next part, which is the carrots. So when it comes to my meat, I like to put things like carrots, bell peppers, all that jazz inside. Now, some of these things are a little bit harder than others, so they take a little bit longer to cook. So typically, I'll go ahead and cook my vegetables first, and then get all those done, go ahead and put the meat in afterwards, and I throw it on top. I'll show you exactly what I mean, but we're gonna start off with these carrots. I had to find the bell peppers because I lost them, and we'll go from there. Everything else cut up, so these take not as long to get nice and soft like carrots and broccoli do. Carrots and broccoli are steaming up nicely over here. All I do with these is I just put it on simmer. I actually throw a little bit of water on the bottom, and that way I can get anything. I throw water on the bottom, go ahead and put the carrots, the broccoli, let it steam for about 10, 15, however long it takes me to cut these up. Now that these are all cut up, probably gonna throw them in the next minute or so. Then gonna let it all cook, season it, and when I'm done, I'm gonna put it in the trays, and then I'm gonna get cooking on the meat next. Now the meat's gonna be very similar to this. I'm gonna go ahead and throw just another onion in it because why not? And after that, that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and make the pico de gallo after that because I've been putting that with my food to add some more flavor, I forgot the serrano peppers. I gotta get serrano peppers after this. Anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. I also bought this thing. It is, whatever that is. Looks fun, looks good. So I'm gonna season my meat with it. Not really any calories in this, not too much. So we're looking at 15 a serving, 12 servings. So really spread out over the course of an entire week is not gonna add much. We got water, onions, garlic, green peppers, vinegar, salt, coriander, parsley, oregano, citric acid, sodium. Really not a whole lot in here, so definitely gonna try that out. But gonna go ahead and keep on cooking. These are boiling, but they have quite a ways to go. So these potatoes are so freaking hard. So it is what it is. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and continue, get with the pico de gallo, and see you in a minute. All right, we're on the last part of this. So we've already cut everything for the pico de gallo. Granted, I made too much and it's not gonna fit in this, so I'm gonna have to put it into two different things and figure that out later. The vegetables are about done. They're simmered down for the most part. So what we're gonna have to do is, like I said, all I do is I'm just kind of steaming them, getting them nice and soft. The one thing when it comes to vegetables is they can be very hard on the digestion, especially when you have lots of them. So especially with the hard fibrous vegetables, it is good to make sure that you always steam them or cook them in a way to make them easier for your body to break down. Now, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna throw these all into 2 pans, and then from there I'm gonna use the Instant Pot and saute up the ground beef. What I'm actually gonna do is put the spinach in there with it. I was supposed to do that last week, but I forgot. Spinach, luckily, it when you cook it, it gets very small, so you won't even notice that it's in there. I am gonna put this, whatever the sauce is, inside of it, see what it tastes like, and we'll be just about done. I think these sweet potatoes are about done. We add just a little bit more water to them, then mash those up, put those in a container, and everything will be just about done and ready to go for the week. I've probably been in here, probably 45 minutes or so. Nothing too crazy, but all right, let's go ahead and get on to the ground beef. Right, we are pretty much done. So you can see here, this was the vegetables that I initially had steamed in here on saute mode. So about 2 cups of water at the bottom, and then I started off with the carrots and broccoli. Once those were cooking for a little while, went ahead and threw in the bell peppers, the onions, and things like that. Meanwhile, that entire time I had the sweet potatoes boiling. Once they were done, mashed them up, threw them in the tray, quick and easy, just salt and pepper on there. Here is cayenne salt and pepper. Then while these were all cooking, cut up the vegetables for pico de gallo. So I wanted to try these out. Never had these in pico de gallo before, but I wanted to add just a little bit of fun colors to the mix. So I did those with the regular tomatoes that typically go on. Then we have cilantro, onion. I forgot the garlic for everything. I thought I had some, and I do have the lemons, I just don't have them here. I forgot those as well. So I still got a couple missing ingredients to add to this, as well as, or something else I forgot. But anyways, we're just here waiting on the ground beef. I threw a little bit more spinach on there because I got the spinach last week and I forgot to add it to the meal, and so it probably won't last another week. So I'm trying to cook as much of it as possible, but it's probably gonna be about as much as I can get in there because it's not cooking down as much. So this is almost done. Once it's done, season it with some cayenne pepper, salt, everything like that. Get a few different things on there. get this on there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna throw it on top of these, mix them up together, and that'll be it for the meat this week. Everything else, like I said, you can see I do have some eggs and whatnot back there. Fruit, we have the watermelon, strawberries, yogurt, a couple other things that we don't actually have to prep, just gotta weigh them and eat them when the time comes. But other than that, like I said, we've been here about an hour, already cleaned everything up. So once I get that meat done, just have to clean the Instapot. After that, throw it on the fridge. We're all good for the rest of the week. All right, we are all done. Believe it or not, that entire box of spinach, I managed to condense it all the way down into that one thing, and you can barely even tell there's spinach in here. So this is what we are looking at for the bulk of the meal prep. Now, as you saw, this is going to be beef and vegetables. Now, the beef itself is about 10% liver. Liver has so much vitamins and whatnot inside of it, very healthy for the body, and your body digests it very well. So instead of taking all these different supplements, you can go ahead and have liver, and it will take the majority out of it. Now, I know what you're saying, liver is disgusting, and believe me, I've tried liver and different organs in the past and they were miserable. I've tried it in steaks, I've tried slicing it up and mixing it with other steaks. This has been the best way for me to consume liver. Like I said, it's about 90% beef, 10% liver. Unfortunately, you can only do that when you go to a butcher shop. So can't even taste it at all. So other stuff that we got on here, right? We have our yogurt. They only had a couple of the ones that I like to get. These are the full fat ones though, so I can't eat as much. But I'll have my yogurt for the week. I have my eggs. These I will probably fry them to this week. I don't know, hard boil. However I feel like having the eggs, I'll typically eat those. I got the pico de gallo over here. We have the sweet potato. The order at which I'll eat this food, this will probably be in every single meal. I eat these if I'm like in a snacking mood when I'm allowed to eat, and I might go ahead and eat one of those. This I like to mix with that, but when it comes to heating up the food, I'll warm this up, and then I like this to be warm, and I'll put that on there cold, so it adds a little bit of a crunch to it, as well as, what do we got? Oh, I dropped it. I've been throwing this on there, so I'll take one of these heads of lettuce out, I'll cut up like half of it, and then I'll throw half of it on top of the meal with this. Obviously, this will be cold, this will be warm. So it adds a little bit of a crunch. It also just adds more volume, so I feel like I'm eating more for longer. This is predominantly gonna be water. Not worried about the calories in this. People are gonna say, oh, well, you got vegetables. Broccoli is actually, I don't wanna say dense in calories, but it does have more calories than something like onions and whatnot would. Now, I'm telling you, I'm not concerned about people getting fat off of vegetables, all right? When it gets to the point where I am no longer losing weight in this cut, I will probably slightly step up the cardio. And once I am not losing weight again, I may start tapering off a handful of the denser caloric carbs, such as the broccoli and whatnot, and we'll simplify this a little bit more. But we don't need to kill ourselves trying to weigh every single gram of vegetables. They're not going to be the thing that's throwing you off. So when it does get to that point of, like I said, me not losing weight, we'll go ahead and cut those things off, and it'll predominantly be just beef, onions, and stuff like that. Now, the way that I actually weigh this out on the food tracker is I already made a custom one for myself because this is beef and liver. So it technically weighs out to, I want to say 95 or 96%. And technically, the vegetables do play a part in the weight. This is true, but the vegetables are actually going to be less calories than the beef itself. I just weigh it all as one, right? I already eat slight excess amount of protein per day, so it evens itself out quite well. Like I said, we don't need to turn this into an explicit science. You guys aren't getting ready for a bodybuilding competition. I only eat this right after the workout. This is a great source of carbs for the body right after the workout. But other than that, like I said, I have strawberries and watermelon that are somewhere over here. So I'll definitely get, these will be a good snack for some good carbs. But other than that, this is predominantly what I'll be eating this week. Now, a couple things. So I eat the same meat personally. Maybe in the future I'll spice it up a little bit, but In the past, like I said, I've done things such as I would get 3 Instapots to put 3 different recipes in each one, so I would have a different breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've done it many different ways, but at this point I'm very busy, and because I'm really busy, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, less things to calculate, right? One protein, that's only one thing I got to track. Chicken's going to be slightly different between chicken breasts, chicken thighs, higher fat beef, right? There's all these different factors. So for me, I'm just trying to keep this as simple as possible. So what all you're going to do is go ahead and, since I pre-made all my food in bulk, all I'm going to do is, I don't have my scale here, but I'm going to get that scale, go ahead and put my bowl, whatever it is that I'm weighing. I'm going to scoop this out. I already know for me, I scoop out 200 to 225 grams of this. I'm going to put that in the food tracker. Simple, easy. All right. Then from there, if I'm having 2 eggs with it, throw 2 eggs on the tracker. If I'm having another 100, 200, I actually have 200 grams of sweet potato, throw it on the tracker. It's not that hard. All right. The biggest thing is make sure that your protein is where it needs to be. We're looking for about 1.2 grams per pound of body weight that you want to be at. So if you are 280 pounds overweight, but our goal ideal weight is to be 160, 170, you're going to be eating around 185, 190 grams of protein just to make sure that we have enough to sustain our muscle during the diet. All right. But other than that, like I said, have fun with it. Throw different seasonings on there. Put whatever meat you want on there. But if we're on a diet, make sure it's a lean meat. You can do chicken breast, chicken thigh. You don't really have to worry about only eating chicken breasts until you get to a point where you're actually getting lean. And we have to find different ways to cut those calories, but chicken thighs are fine. Trust me, I've lost like 50 pounds off of eating chicken thighs, all right? It's not gonna break the bank. For now, I am eating still some of that full-fat yogurt, but when it does get down to it and I have to cut more calories, I will switch to the low-fat options just to keep those calories lower. But other than that, like I said, have fun with it. There's no need to kill yourself. It's only taken me about an hour, hour and a half to do this. I'll have food for the entire week. We're out about, I want to say this is about probably less than $150. Some of these things will last me 2 to 3 weeks. So a little bit difficult to calculate the entire thing. But other than that, that's what we got for today. Let me know if you have any questions in regard to meal prep, when to eat, how to eat. Are you thinking about doing keto? Are you thinking about intermittent fasting? What are the benefits? Why would I do it? All those different things. Feel free to reach out and ask. These are all good questions. There's nothing particularly wrong with any of these diets. We've got to figure out what makes sense for you, honestly. Some of them are just not sustainable, but like I said, I'll gladly answer any questions that you guys have. Without further ado, I need to go ahead and get this stuff all in the fridge, get it all ready for the week, and I have computer work and training modules to put together, so I will see you guys next time. Probably around Friday, Saturday will be another meal prep day, and it's probably going to be the same thing as this week. So see you guys next time.